Hi guys, here we go. Debate the following statement. Physically educated students should be critical consumers of sport. Use the textbook and outside research to support your response prepared in a video clip. Um, I found this to be one of the most thought-provoking assignments, and I think I'm in about my 32nd unit of getting my master's with an emphasis in adaptive physical education. You know, when I looked at this statement and kind of trying to take into all of the things that I have learned, which has been a ton, um, when I read this that says physical education students should be critical consumers, the first thing I think when I think consumer is how are you going to analyze what a consumer wants and what a consumer needs unless you actually do what I call the 5 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and then I've added the fifth C called caring. Um, and what I mean by that, the whole thought of moving a curriculum based on actually understanding what the social ramifications and needs and who the kids, who the families really are that you're servicing. And it's kind of unique for me because I have a specialized physical education class, and I have an adaptive physical education class, and I would say that most of my athletes are in the specialized physical education class, although I do have a few that are intellectually disabled, probably about a third, but they're really great athletes. And these kids really derive their self-esteem from being able to participate in sports. In the past, I think the people did a great job there, but basically it was really geared towards the sports were geared mainly football. Were geared towards winning, making a team. Therefore, a lot of kids really didn't have an opportunity to participate. So what I actually did is I went around and talked to the kids in keeping with what the assignment was for tonight. Um, you know, let them be consumers, let them understand what's going on, or find out what they think is happening in the sports world, how what's happening can help them, how can it benefit them for a lifetime of activity. And so, you know, through collaborating and talking to them and understanding the league that we're in with 9 other schools, we came up with a curriculum that basically just about anyone in the high school, 9 through 12, would enjoy one of these sports, being football, soccer, which is a big sport, basketball, volleyball, softball, which really enables it to be, it's a co-ed thing with us. Um, at our track meet, they run girls against girls, but we can play flag football, we can play basketball. The girls have their own team also. But in looking at some of the statements that I read, and what you're trying to derive from this type of curriculum as far as a consumer of sport and physical activity, students are educated not only to appreciate the intrinsic benefits of participation in health enhancing physical activities, but also to exercise critical judgment. And then it also talked about incorporating anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, and I just thought about some of the things that I already do with all of my kids, even the K through 5, is that when we're stretching, talking about the muscles um, that we're using. When we're doing working on an overhand throw or throwing the football, we actually talk a little bit about the physics of throwing a ball and transferring the energy from your back foot to throw a football, and then going on and looking at some videos of some great quarterbacks or baseball players or catchers, or um, because a lot of times these kids don't really get it until they see someone that maybe they idolize. Watching a soccer game and watching the phenomenal things that some of these soccer players do. So basically, in debating this whole issue and developing a curriculum like this, it's revolutionary, and revolutionary in the sense that I wanted to initiate some of these things early on, but what I discovered very quickly is that unless I really communicated, inquired, observed what was going on first, not only with the other coaches that were there before me, and the ones that are there now, which I have three assistants that work with me in all of my classes and with the sports program, um, finding out what they thought worked well, finding out what they knew about the kids, and really digging into their backgrounds, what kind of medications that they were on, and then incorporating, because we had a good flexibility program. Our aerobic conditioning wasn't so good, and core and things like that. But after noticing these things, doing some assessments, and then collaborating with them, with the kids first, I'm going, hey, what do you think? You can only do 2 curl-ups. What do we need to do? Letting the kids and the coaches do some research on what we could do to help meet our standards and our goals, which are being totally physically fit. But the whole aspect of helping them to become literate, teaching them the sport, teaching them strategies of the game, became fascinating to me, but only came through uh, inquiry, letting the coaches do some of the things that they were doing in the past, but not telling them, but asking them to explain what they were doing and why they were doing it. And then asking the kids, do you know why you're doing this? Do you know why we ask you to um, turn sideways and step with opposition when you're throwing a baseball or a football? Or why do you place your foot next to the ball and get a running start before you kick it? And were they relating those same principles into playing soccer? So the education, the communication part, and we're actually going to be able to institute this type of curriculum into our program. But also too, even today in an IEP, after spending a lot of time on an assessment, collaborating with our team before I went in, because kind of in the past it's like, well, you're the APE teacher, can you kind of do this thing in 5 minutes? And I said, well, I think there's a little bit more to that. So I went through it, and then, lo and behold, the mother got a chance to share, and she told how much she appreciated the time spent with her son by the teachers, the one-on-ones, but especially how much he loved adaptive physical education. So that's been a process of communicating, collaborating with other teachers and administration, not just going in and telling them what to do, but them seeing that. One of the administrators said, he goes, you really do work hard at your trade, don't you? And he knew why. He's just finishing up his PhD in education at APU right now. So um, it's been great to collaborate with all, but one of the biggest things too is we found I've gotten so many great ideas from the kids. They tell you what they like to do. They tell you what they don't like to do. and they've actually even created some games where they can get some aerobic endurance, or instead of going out and throwing, the 15 pass routes that we have in football every single day, they've created games that basically are not only creative, they had to critically think about this because they had to use all of the fundamentals. They had to adhere to the rules and use the fundamentals of the game. So I'll wrap it up there. I don't want to go. This is probably too long, but in the end, my outside source was the Bible, and it's Exodus 15:13. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling. And to me, that means that we have one leader, and that is God, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And being able to institute that fifth C of caring is actually showing the love of Christ and showing the same leadership that Christ has shown to us. So, thanks, guys. Hope you enjoy this. Bye.